This is a raw wood blank that I ordered on Amazon. And as you can see, it has a diameter of almost 8 inches. This is not sublimation ready. And this is A-Sub Sublimation Heat Transfer Vinyl. So Sublimation HTV that we're going to be using. For these circle wood blanks, I decided to try a door sign. So I started in my Creative Fabrica. I have the Creative Fabrica All Access. I'll have a link below for that. And I downloaded this cute chicken welcome sign. So now I'm going to go into my Canva and I am going to do a custom size here. I have Canva Pro, and so I am going to go in, and the first thing I'm going to do is inches. And this sign is roughly 8 inch by 8 inch in diameter, but I am going to go 8.1. It's not quite 8 inches, but I want to have enough room for this to overlap. So I'm going to create a new design here, and I am going to upload my design here go to my downloads here and go up here, this one, and open this up and bring it in. And I'm going to add that to my design, and I am going to stretch that all the way up so that I have a full design here on for my signs. So now I'm going to go to share here, and I'm going to download this, and I'm going to make this DPI as high as possible because I can do that because it's the Pro. And I'm going to choose a transparent background, and I am going to download this. Now I could have just brought this into a Word document and resized it that way. I am going to be printing from Word, so I'm going to open a blank Word document here, and I'll change my layout to landscape so that we can see better. I'm going to change my margins to 0. And now I am going to insert the picture that we just did in Canva. And it should be just the right size here, right here. So I'm going to bring this in, and we will look here. It says, you can see under picture format, and right here it says 8.1 by 8.1. I am going to wrap and through on this so that I can move this around on the page. I don't want any of my design cut off on the paper. And I am going to go up just a little bit here. I'm going to go to 8.2 because there is a little bit of white around that area. And I just want to make sure that this presses completely on my piece of wood here on my Sublimation HTV. So I'm going to open another one, another document here. Oops, go back, and I'll open a new document. And I will do the same thing. I'll do layout, orientation, landscape, margin 0. And I'll bring in the picture that I downloaded from Creative Fabrica that I did not change anything on. So you could just bring this in. I did raise the DPI on it in Canva. That is something you're not going to be able to do in Word, but just go to layout options here, wrap and through so that you can move it around on the page a little bit. And it came in at 8.5 inches. So I'm going to drop that down to 8.2. So that's another way that you could print this to fit on your circle if you were doing this. I'm going to get rid of this one because I'm not going to use that one. We're going to be printing this one. So I'm going to go to File and Print, and I am going to pick my Epson EcoTank 2840. That is my sublimation printer. It is an Epson EcoTank that I converted over to sublimation printing by adding sublimation ink, and I will have a link below for that as well. And now I'm going to go under Printer Properties, and I want to make sure that I have Premium Presentation Paper Matte, High Quality, and then under more options, I'm going to turn bidirectional or high speed off, and we want to make sure we're mirroring our image. And then under image options, I am going to choose emphasize more and emphasize thin lines. And then I will go and get this printed. So I'm not going to be using a cutting machine for this, so this makes this nice for people that don't have a cutting machine. I am just going to cut off a piece of my Sublimation HTV and get it on my wood. I'm going to be pressing this at 320 degrees for 10 to 20 seconds. I have protective paper down on my press, and I have the wood blank down, the HTV on top of it, and then I taped this in place right to the paper because I'm going to press this at 320 degrees with full pressure for 20 seconds. Let's get this started here. So now that has pressed it nicely into place, and the excess is pressed right onto this paper. So now I'm going to take it off, and I am going to use an X-Acto knife to cut around. I trimmed the edges of the Sublimation HTV on this self-healing mat, and now you want to remove the carrier sheet. Here you can see I've got my wood blank laying down on the design. I trimmed the design down, and so now I'm going to take this over to my press and get this pressed. I am going to use some heat resistant tape to keep this in place. I'm going to be pressing this at 385 degrees with firm pressure for 60 seconds. And so now you can see I have my heat resistant tape. I'm going to turn it this way, and I'm going to put it in and press for 30 seconds. I did use A-Sub 125 sublimation paper for this as well. And here it is, fresh out of the press. This turned out amazing. Now the colors weren't quite dark enough at 30 seconds, so I did press this again for a second 30 seconds. So I suggest pressing this 385 degrees for 60 seconds total. This is a wooden door hanger. I got this at Dollar General for $1. So I am going to be removing this label and adding Sublimation HTV, A-Sub Sublimation HTV, and putting our design on. We have got about 3.5 inches wide by 5.5 inches high that we can put a design on. So I picked out some of these sweet sleeping baby animals from Creative Fabrica, and so I've downloaded them. So now I'm going to upload a couple of them so that we can see. I picked out this sheep and this fox. And because they are lighter colors, we're going to be adding some things behind them so that they show up really well on this light colored wood. So I'm going to add the sheep first because this was my favorite. I really like the little sheep in here. So I'll pull this in, get it centered nicely because I am going to be adding some embellishments to the bottom of this little sign here. And so I'm going to get this in the middle. Oh, I know I could add a prayer to this. That would be really cute. I might do that. Let's add a text box. And let's go with now. Oh, I lost my text box. Here we go. Grab this here and move it up. And now I lay me down to sleep down. To sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. I don't remember the rest of it. Angels guard me. I don't need a capital G on there. Guard me through the night, through my angels guard me through the night and wake me with the morning light. And I'll add amen to that too. Okay, let's stretch this out and make it bigger. See what we got here and change our font on this. Let's see here. Early butterfly would be pretty, but a little hard to read there. We can line space this out a little bit. See what we got. No, that one is a little busy. So let's see what other font we can use here. Baby Valentina. That is really cute. but no, I think I'll do something that can be read by a child a little bit more. And now I'm going to zoom this out and maybe shorten it a little bit, put a couple of my lines together here. Now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord, my soul, to keep. Angels guard me through the night. Put that up here and wake me with the morning light. Nice. Okay, I'll make that a little bit bigger, get it centered here. Make it a little bigger, not quite that much bigger. And now I will add the word amen here, but I'm going to change the font on that as well. Maybe I will do that one that I really liked up here. Maybe Valentina. Yeah, that one might look good on that. Let's see, Carly. Let's use Carly. And then I'll move this over. So it's at the end over here. And so now we have two cute fonts in there. I am going to add an effect to this. I am going to use a blue background on that just to give it a little bit of pop. Let's see, I'll change the color of this one as well to maybe this color. Maybe this color because you see it brought in the color of the sheep there. So I think I'll leave that and then I'll do effects on this one. And that's a nice color for an effect on there. I'm going to zoom in so that you can see that. It looks pretty good. So now what I'm going to do is I want to add a little bit of color to the background because I'm worried that it is going to be a little too light. The sheep, I mean, you'll see it, but I want to make sure that you can see the sheep, the white in there, because of course, you know, our printers don't print white, our sublimation printers. So now let's look for an element here, and I'm going to put a starry night. Let's see what comes up here. Oh, some cute ones. Let's just stick this back there and see what it does. Oh, I got to be careful though. I'm not going to be putting this on the whole thing. So I am going to do paint splash. Let's see what comes up here. Well, that's pretty cute. This one here. Let's try this one. That'll give it a little bit of color back there and yet um, give it color, but yet not too much. So I'll put this here and then I'm going to go to position here and I'm going to send it back. And then you can see our little sheep in there a little bit better. And now I'm going to go to this one and I'm going to turn it here just because I think the color is better on that side. You can go up here and get the whole thing in there. Now that gives that little sheep a little more dimension there. So I'm going to think this is about right. This is about how I would like it to be. So now I'm going to go, maybe pull it down a little bit further. I'm going to be adding some alphabet letters to this, some little wooden blocks that I got. And so I just want to make sure I have enough room on the bottom for that. I'm gonna pull this down. Whoops, not that one. Well, yeah, that looks okay there. Maybe leave that. All right, so let's get this downloaded. So I'm gonna go to share and again, download. I'm gonna do the transparent background, raise my DPI, get this downloaded, and I'll get this printed as well so that we can get this pressed on our door. And I'm going to follow the same process for this door hanger. So I have my Sublimation HTV taped in place on top of this wood door hanger, and I am going to be pressing this on at 320 degrees Fahrenheit for 20 seconds. I use the self-healing mat and the X-Acto knife to trim off the excess, and now I'm going to get the carrier sheet off. The carrier sheet is coming off nicely. I have my sublimation design trimmed down, so I'm going to get this added with heat-resistant tape. For this one, I am going to use a Teflon sheet because there is a lot of vinyl exposed. And so I'm going to put my Teflon sheet on here, and we're going to be pressing this 385 degrees for 60 seconds with firm pressure. It turned out absolutely perfect. If you have a little bit of paper stick, all you need to do is get it a little damp and it'll come right off. So to add a little bit of charm to my door hanger, I drilled a couple holes and added some jute rope here. And then I found these cute letter blocks at the Dollar General where I found this door hanger. They came in a pack with quite an assortment. And so I'm going to be adding a name to this door hanger as well. I used a gel super glue to add these letters to my door sign. And I just thought for a little added touch to my door sign, I am going to add a little Spanish moss with my hot glue gun. The Spanish moss is a nice element to add to this door sign. It gives it a little bit of a 3D visual. I think this door sign turned out really well. I love it. And this customized door sign is just so cute. What a cute gift this would be. I love how this A-Sub Sublimation HTV worked on wood. It worked out really well. Thank you for taking the time to watch my video. Please like my video, subscribe to my channel, see links below, and leave me a comment.